Hey everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this updated video this morning. I trust and hope that you're doing fantastic, and we're going to be taking a look at Tropical Storm Philippe. So it is still being impacted by that shear. It's heavily sheared right now, and we're going to be looking at the latest from the National Hurricane Center as well as what models have to show. Now, there is something that is going to be the big determinant of whether or not there will be any significant impacts in parts of the Leeward Islands, and so I'll be taking you guys through everything to expect. And there is Rina up there, by the way, now a post-tropical cyclone, so it is dissipating, and the NHC has issued the final advisory on it. So Rina is practically no more. Let's head on to the infrared satellite imagery, and there you can see Philippe. So this does not show a whole lot in terms of the circulation of the system, but this is the entire storm. But notice where that activity is. It remains just offshore in the southeastern portion of it. So there is some activity across sections of the Lesser Antilles, though maybe some passing showers, even some brief thunderstorms developing. You can let me know in the comments what's been happening for your area. But looking to other sections of the Caribbean, we can see that there is some moisture, so that is helping to induce some showers and thunderstorms across some areas. And let's take a look at the rainfall map here. So we're looking at what Euro has to show, and as we see more of those shades of oranges and reds and even that burgundy and purple, a lot of rainfall within those areas. So let's see. So as we head through today, there you can see that rainfall activity building across parts of Central America, Northern South America, and the Caribbean. And then all of that right there is in association with Philippe. So as we're going to be heading through today, we're seeing that Euro is not anticipating that there will be a whole lot of rainfall. For some areas, though, there could be some heavy downpours, especially in Antigua and Barbuda, which are still under that tropical storm watch. So those tropical storm conditions will be possible, not guaranteed. That's the key word here, possible, as we're going to be heading to later today and even into tomorrow as well. Looking at what the GFS model has to show as it relates to that rainfall activity through today, again, across parts of Central America, Northern South America, not including the Guyanas, by the way. So for Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana, it's going to be another hot and sunny day. ABC Islands not seeing where much is expected for you guys, but across most of the Lesser Antilles, there could be some rainfall activity, likely due to Philippe's proximity or just all that moisture feeding into it. And then across the Greater Antilles, there could be some afternoon showers popping up across some areas. So Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba, not as much for the Cayman Islands. Grand Cayman would have a more decent chance of seeing a bit of rainfall activity today. And then as we look up into parts of Florida, especially Southeast Florida, the Keys, and go into sections of the Northern Bahamas, there could be some substantial rainfall and maybe some passing showers at the most for the Turks and Caicos Islands, but much is not anticipated as we're going to be heading through today. Now, as it relates to Philippe, let's take a much closer look at the storm. Here we have it. So again, as I was saying, all of the activity is confined to the southeastern portion of it. And let's go on to the shortwave infrared. This is another type of satellite imagery, and we can see a lot more. There is that center of circulation. Normally this shouldn't be exposed here, and because of that wind shear keeping all that activity in the southeastern part of the system, that is the reason it hasn't strengthened either. It has been holding on to those 50 mph winds being sustained at the maximum, and we can see the effect of the wind shear. Now take a look at that, at those yellow dots. Those are representative of lightning strikes. We're talking about thunderstorms, but then as they grow, notice how those clouds are pushed off to the east and basically fizzling. That is the work of the wind shear, and that is what it has been impacting Philippe as a whole. So as those thunderstorms, as all that activity grows, it meets that shear, and those upper level winds just displace all those thunderstorms, cut off all those thunderstorms. So that is why the cyclone has not been able to grow much, because the circulation is actually moving into parts of the Leeward Islands. But take a look at that. We're not seeing where much is happening. Maybe some passing showers at the most, but nothing that no one can't handle over there. So the good news is that this is likely to be inducing some decent amount of rainfall to the point where it could help with the drought conditions which have been experienced. But at the same time, there could still be some heavy downpours. So whether or not it actually manages to grow, this blob of convection manages to grow to the point where it would impact the islands, that is going to be the big determinant of whether those tropical storm impacts are felt or not. So if this stays to the southeast, if it manages to remain offshore, then the worst of the system will not affect the Leeward Islands. However, if it manages to grow or some convection tries to form around the western side of it, then definitely there could be some impacts, even heavy rainfall, which can induce flooding. So that remains a possibility. And again, that tropical storm watch is still in effect for Antigua and Barbuda. And so now we're moving on to what the National Hurricane Center has to show for this system. So we're taking a look at the latest cone forecast this morning, and here we can see that, as I said earlier, those maximum sustained winds are 50 miles per hour. Now let's look closer, and there we can see that vibrant yellow for that tropical storm watch, which remains in effect for Antigua and Barbuda, but there's that mustard shaded near that X as well. So the X shows the current location of the low pressure center, and that mustard shaded is representative of the extent of tropical storm force winds. So this is pretty much asymmetrical because we're not seeing those tropical storm force winds being extended over in the western side of the system, again due to that shear. So the shear has been taking its toll on Philippe, but it is moving to the northwest now at 7 miles per hour, so it's not accelerated much faster compared to last evening, but it should gradually make its way up to the north, and then maybe later this week, heading into this weekend, it could acquire hurricane status and pass well to the east of Bermuda. So might not be a problem. Maybe those rough seas would be the only concern or the main concern with this system here. So if you're in Bermuda and you're planning to go out partaking in some marine activities this weekend, you might want to be careful out there. So for the short term though, again, Philippe could bring tropical storm impacts to sections of the Leeward Islands, but that is not a guarantee. However, that rainfall activity is still likely for many islands. So talking about practically most islands of the Lesser Antilles, as we saw on the rainfall maps earlier, there could be some rainfall activity across pretty much everywhere: Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Barthélemy, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, possibly for Grenada as well, even some parts of Trinidad, Tobago, and maybe even for Barbados. So all the islands could experience some shower activity at some point as we head throughout today. So here are the key messages from the NHC. So they read, the first one says, tropical storm conditions are possible across portions of the northern Leeward Islands through tonight, while Philippe passes near or just northeast of the area, and a tropical storm watch is in effect for Antigua and Barbuda. Interests elsewhere in the northern Leeward Islands should continue to monitor this system. The second key message, heavy rainfall from Philippe could produce isolated to scattered flash flooding, particularly across Barbuda and Antigua through Tuesday. So there is still that chance of those tropical storm impacts, but there is no guarantee simply because of how lopsided the system is, thanks to the shear taking its toll on it. So as I said, hopefully it will be the case where this actually helps to increase that rainfall activity without bringing those significant adverse effects. But I'm here to keep you guys posted, and stay tuned for my next update coming later today. And that is pretty much what I wanted to share with you this morning. So I hope you found this video to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, as usual, please do leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you once I can. And as always, remember to be weatherwise.